welcome back to the channel. My name is Brad, and today we're going to talk about MSTY. Now, right off the bat, this is a hard category. This is something not for everyone, and there's going to be a lot of terminology that I'm going to throw out. And if you don't understand it, fine. Feel free to ask questions. But this is going to be probably one of the more difficult ones to talk about because of what MicroStrategies actually is and their strategy, and then YieldMax strategy with MSTY. So currently MSTY has a distribution rate of 107%. That's a big number. They're allowed to sell, they can sell call spreads. So they'll sell something at the money and they'll buy something above, and if the price gets in between, you get nothing. You're just going to get the differential between what they sold it for and what they bought the call for. If it goes above that call, that's when we start making money again. Yes, I know this is not the typical P&L of a options trader. I'm literally taking this right out of the perspectives of what they're going to do. Again, as it goes up to that call, we gain. We're going to get the net premium between the two. And then as it goes through the upper, we'll start to gain again. There's no spreads, cost, and it's not the typical option trader P&L that most people try to do. Now, with that said, they've been successful with MSTY in selling call spreads and out of the money calls. If you like this type of content, please hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. And don't forget to share this video with your friends. I truly appreciate it. Clearly you can tell by how the price has gone up in MSTY. Now, the NAV is starting to come back right back down. And you have to understand MicroStrategies to even fathom what MSTY really is. So MicroStrategies is a technology company. They're into AI. They're into building chat bots. They're into all kinds of other technology for other businesses. But there's a lot of companies like that. What makes MicroStrategies different? Well, the first thing that makes MicroStrategies different is they hold Bitcoin. Michael Saylor does different kinds of financial moves, either taking loans, doing offerings, all kinds of structures to raise capital to buy Bitcoin. And he's done this for years. And by buying Bitcoin, especially when Bitcoin was much cheaper, and putting it onto his balance sheet looks better. But, and here's the but, what does the revenue of MicroStrategy really look like? And this is where it could be a ticking time bomb. If I go back and I look at the revenue of MicroStrategy, it doesn't look so good. This is not what you want to see as in revenues and earnings. They're missing. They had one green and they've had 3 reds in the last 4 quarters. This is not good. This is at best, if you did a discounted free cash flow, a $25 stock at best. But they hold Bitcoin. So as Bitcoin goes up in price, MicroStrategy is going to go up in price. It's just a function. That is the ultimate money glitch. Can I get a loan? Can I do an offering and pay 1% and buy an asset that's going to go up in price? And that's the question for everybody that's getting into MSTY. Is Bitcoin going to go up in price? Brad, we'll go like this. Will it go up in price this year? Maybe. Will it go down in price this year? Maybe. That's the problem. It could be a ticking time bomb going down to $25. And I'm talking about MicroStrategies. Or it could be the ultimate money glitch. This could be where they could scrape off 1 or 2 Bitcoin or use their earnings to pay off those loans, continue to hold Bitcoin, and ride out the next crypto winter. Or are we coming up to the next Bitcoin rise? Everybody has to remember, Bitcoin rose because of the ETFs, because of BlackRock, because of Fidelity. When they issued those ETFs and started allowing people to buy Bitcoin in their 401ks, in their IRAs, in their Roth IRAs, without actually having to hold Bitcoin, it changed everything. We quickly went up to a new all-time high. We went up to a new all-time high so early in the cycle that it was astronomical. I mean, all the price predictions that I was seeing, we should have only been in the $50,000, $60,000 range at best back in March. Not trying to close in on $70,000. So are we now going to see a rise in Bitcoin? Or is it already over? And that's what you have to ask yourself. Because financially, this is not the best company in the world. This is not an Amazon. This is not a Microsoft or a Tesla where you see those numbers hitting. This is a company that's a decent company, but they're missing earnings. So that's where that conversation becomes. Does it move forward? Does it go up? Does it go down? I have no clue. Now, I will tell you, I own it because I can wait 5 years. I can wait to the next one. But if you think you're going to start drawing off revenue right now, you've got another thing coming. You could quickly find yourself in a heap of trouble. Now, if you have a small portion, this could be your Bitcoin play. And right now, this is my Bitcoin play. I used to have BITO, and I used to put options on it. I used to do all kinds of stuff. I don't own that anymore. I decided, hey, if I'm going to have a little bit of Bitcoin exposure in my IRA, I'm going to get MSTY, high distributions, based on a company that owns Bitcoin. And that's the way that I'm playing it. You can see that the Bitcoin price is starting to decay. But players like BlackRock keep on buying and buying and buying and buying. Eventually, there's not going to be any more Bitcoin to buy. This halving, there might still be some Bitcoin laying around. But come the next halving, at the pace that BlackRock and Fidelity buys Bitcoin, where are you going to buy it from? And then what happens to the price? Remember, there's only 21 million Bitcoin. Now, does Bitcoin go to zero? I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and gamble my life savings on this. But holding a couple $1,000s into MSTY, let the price go up, and then being able to collect 15, 20% of whatever I put into it, that might be a good gamble. So be careful. MicroStrategy the other day just purchased more Bitcoin. They just can't stop buying billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. It's amazing. I do believe the current number, this is a couple days old, I think the current number is closer to $11 billion is what it's worth. That's a lot of money. Now, my next part of the conversation, this really determines if you should hold Bitcoin or not. And I say the M2 money supply. If you know what I'm talking about, maybe you should hold MSTY. If you don't know what I'm talking about, maybe you shouldn't hold MSTY. But currently, the M2 money supply is starting to creep back up. And as the money supply goes back up, stocks are going to go up, Bitcoin is going to go up, everything's going to go up. You can literally look at this chart and you can see the increases in SPY. You can see how things have changed over time. And that line curved down and is now starting to curve back up. Is it too late? Are we going to have a little slowdown for 6 months? I don't think so. I think this money is going to start hitting the market, and there's going to be a lot of money out there. And they're going to start putting it back into stocks. And they're going to start putting it back into Bitcoin. And we're going to start seeing new all-time highs. But this might be next year. It might be 18 months from now. But if you understand the M2 money supply and money's going in and all you have to do is hold and wait, this might be something you want to hold at a 107% distribution rate. If I look at this week's call, they sold it at $150. It was about 6% above Friday's close price, but okay. It's a decent call. They did not do a call spread like they did on AMZY. They actually just sold the call. If I look at the charts, look at how far this went up in price. It skyrocketed, but it skyrocketed with the price of Bitcoin. But once they made the first distribution and you started stacking it back in, that's held up extremely well. If you're trying to take it all, you're right back to where you started. You only got what you collected in distributions, which is a lot of money. Does it beat the S&P 500? If you were adding back in distributions, even if you were taking 5%, even if you were skimming off 10%, even if you were skimming off 15% of that original $50,000 investment, you're well above the S&P 500. The question is if you invested today, what would happen? That all depends on the price of Bitcoin, not on MicroStrategy's being a well-ran company making tons of money. They're making enough money to pay off the loans that they took out to buy Bitcoin. If I look at these distributions, 10,000, 8,000, 7,000, 6,000, those distributions are off the chart. And my little skimming of 8% off the top is nothing. When I skim off 15% off the top, of my original investment of $50,000. It's nothing. It's only something if you're taking 100%. Because right now, your NAV is right back to where it was. Are they tax efficient? No, they're about 50%. Their 19A-1 says they're about 50% this year. They're not going to be the most tax efficient. The final score ends up being a 6 because they can do the 8, they can do the 15. It is a synthetic. If you reinvest the distributions from day one, you're beating the S&P 500. You can withdraw 15%, and they have over $200 million in assets under management. So they get a total of 6, which, again, a little surprise, but I'm going right off the chart. So my final words about MSTY. Yes, you should have a little exposure to Bitcoin. 1-2%. Either you can hold Bitcoin, you can hold Coney, you can hold MSTY. If you're trying to hold more than 2% of your total holdings in any one of those, all I can do is close my eyes, shake my head, and hope you're the best. I believe that MSTY, in the long run, 5 years down the road, after the next halving, we're going to see this same exact cycle go about. It's going to go to new all-time highs, and everybody's going to be hysteric. The question is, can you reinvest 100% until that day? Or can you just skim off 10-15% and be happy? Because if you're skimming off 10-15%, you're still doing extremely well. But if you're trying to take 100% of the distributions, you might be in dire straits going forward. MicroStrategies could easily go back down to $25 from $130, easily, in a heartbeat. You're betting on Bitcoin here, not a company that's doing extremely well, like an Amazon or a Nvidia or one of these other Magnificent Seven. You're betting on a company that's investing in Bitcoin. Just keep that in mind. A lot of risk, a lot of reward. It depends on your perspective of Bitcoin going forward. I'm just advising you, not financial advice. I'm giving you friendly advice. Limit your exposure to Bitcoin. When it's a sure bet, and we're coming out of a crypto winter, and it's a sure bet, you can go all in. Right now, I know the Fed is going to lower rates at least one more time this year. That is a sure bet. Bitcoin price is not. Those are my closing words. So until next time, God bless.